Welcome back to the Incredible Machines podcast, where we sit down with incredible people doing incredible things. Today, we sit down with Laura Jane Thomas, the Law, an award-winning CMO, brand strategist, and founder of the Aligned Women Co. We talk about taking bold opportunities in agency life, burnout, healing, and learning to ask for help. The expansion and focus on women's education. So settle in as we dive in deep with an episode filled with honesty, leadership, and the practical lessons that come from rebuilding your life with purpose. Let's dive in with the incredible Laura Jane Thomas.
The first flagship course is basically, I've put together 16 modules over 4 months, and it's everything that women were meant to be taught but weren't taught. So it's covering everything. So I've put together something called the ALIVE method, and it stands for awareness, liberation, intention, vision, and execution. So you go through that entire process. So awareness, for example, is like having awareness of your hormones and nervous system and like actually figuring stuff out, basic psychology. And then it goes all the way to the end where it's actually like implementation. So then we actually start going into like leadership, like harder skills. So like leadership, public speaking, just business in general. So how to show up, how to lead, all the things.
Jesus, cool. So what is that acronym again? ALIVE.
ALIVE.
So it is awareness?
Awareness, liberation, intention, vision, and execution.
So liberation is?
So awareness, liberation. So you have liberation from you've understood things, you've got awareness of things. Now you've got to start putting that into practice within your life. So then you would start, what's an example? Shadow work. So it's awareness of things and then it's actually working on them. So I've been liberated from my ignorance, so to speak, and now I'm actually going to start working on that.
And then the R was intention?
Intention, yeah.
And does that translate to more about that?
Yeah. So intention is more about, again, it's not execution, authenticity. So I've got an amazing lady. She, her name's Mimi, and she actually was my boss like 15 years ago. And she's an incredible speaker. And it's called, I think she calls it Authenticity Everywhere.
Yeah, so I was speaking to Daniela.
Empathy Everywhere.
Empathy Everywhere. Okay, so that's what she... Okay, sorry, before I get to Daniela, and then that was the R, then the V was?
So I'm going to tell you exactly right now.
Is the intention like purpose, knowing your intention, so it's after you're aware, then you're liberated, and then your intention, like why you...
Yeah, so awareness is understanding, liberation is releasing, intention is choosing, vision is directing, and embodiment is living.
Okay.
So awareness, you've got hormone gynecologist, women's fitness special, embodiment and shame work, liberation, when he's doing behavioral transformation, subconscious reprogramming for money mindset. Intention, you've got financial literacy educator, career and leadership mentor, legal literacy expert, empathy and relational intelligence, and then vision and embodiment, energetic alignment, personal branding, career strategy, human design coach.
Okay, cool. So that was...
vision and embodiment are one.
Knox was personal branding in that, so you got her, and is she one of the people?
In the vision and so I haven't even added her to this thing yet because that's a new one again.
Okay, that's cool.
I've got to update it.
Okay, and then because Daniela was
awareness.
Yes, yes, and she said she had submitted like a whole bunch of Loom stuff that.
Yes, yeah.
So I thought it was very clever when she was explaining it to me, like how you got to get that content from them.
Then they get an affiliate link. So every time they sell from their unique affiliate link, they get a percentage of that sale.
Okay, that's awesome. Very clever. Very cool. And the target age group, yeah?
I mean, honestly, I feel like every woman could benefit from it. But you've got, I would say there's 3 buckets. So the first bucket would be your like 19 to 23, 24. So you're in university trying to like figure out the world. And then your second bucket would be, I would say, from 24 to 35. So those are the women that are getting married, getting into their careers, really, trying to juggle a lot of stuff. And then your next bucket would be 35 to, I would say, till 45. You're getting people that are getting divorced. You are getting people that are getting tired of working for someone and probably want to change careers or go on their own. You're going through perimenopause. There's a lot of changes going on. So it really does apply to everyone. And I think we're so often told, like, you need to do the work, you need to do the work. But you don't know what you don't know. Where do you start?
Yeah.
It's impossible to know. So
that's awesome.
yeah.
That's very cool that there's the solution for that now. And is that just through experience, like your experience, just going like, there's like exactly what you said now, that insight? It's like everyone says do the work, and they're like, what do you mean? Like, where do we start? Did you come from your experience?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I spent a lot of time and effort doing the work, and when I had my burnout, I realized it was so surface level, and it's it sucks that we've really got to kind of hit our own rock bottom to be able to find that side of ourselves. But yeah, like, it's definitely from my experience. I was so just like ashamed of being so burnt out and not being able to work for 8 months, and to actually ask somebody for help was like the scariest thing on earth for me.
Again, it's like the third time this come up for me, or us actually, in the last like 2 weeks, is that Charlie, with the horse, the fox, and the boy, and then what's the bravest thing you've ever said, and it was help. Yeah, so
I bought that artwork actually. Yeah,
yeah, it's stunning.
It's so beautiful.
So one of the reasons why I love the way you unpacked it is we've got this. So, and when Daniela was explaining what she'd done, I was like, oh, this is brilliant, because the way I was seeing it, we have this methodology. It's like you can learn anything on the internet. I mean, everything's there. Like, you can pretty much almost anything, I think you could. But it's what you need our methodology is aggregate, so which you gather the right people, what you're doing. And then curate. So you aggregate the content and then curate what's the best of it. So filter it, aggregate, curate, collate. So give it order, and then disseminate. So that order, like your experience might have been not in the order that would be optimal. Actually, it was a lot tougher potentially. And now from your experience, you're able to look in hindsight and go, yeah, I wish I'd learned this, like you said, when I was 19. Yeah, so that's very cool.
Have fun. Don't be so serious. I think I spent a lot of time worrying about the future and just being so hell-bent on succeeding that I missed the point. I missed the point of having fun along the way. And I think that is the whole point, is to enjoy yourself. Not that I didn't have fun at all, but for my age, it was ridiculous how seriously I took things. And while I'm not saying people should waste their 20s, I think it's a really pivotal time in your life, and they should be taken seriously to a degree, but you're still so young. And your frontal lobe isn't even developed yet properly in your mid-20s. It's like, just learn to be a human first. You don't know who you are at all. To think that I was married by the time I was 27, I was engaged, I think, when I was 24, 25, is like, I look back on that person, I'm like, I don't even know who you are. I didn't know who I was at the time. You're making all these like life-altering decisions. when you're just a baby. My life only really started when I was 30, I would say, like really started.
Okay, that's interesting. So why do you say that?
Because I really started to understand myself a lot better. I just think you start to get more maturity, and it is an age thing. I think in your 20s, you are a baby, and sometimes you've just got to have the years on you. Like nothing beats experience.
Is it possibly, so what, I don't know how I picked this up exactly on what words you used, but I think it's tied into earlier where, were you following someone else's rules up until you knew yourself and then you can define your own rules? Was it something like that?
Yeah. So what I said was that I definitely had like this idea in my head that I needed to tick these certain boxes and I would be okay, I would be happy. I have a successful career, make sure that you're making money, get a husband that is, get the white picket fence thing, and get it all done before you turn 30, because life is over when you're 30. You're done. As a woman, you're done. Like your worth plummets after that. This is this narrative that so many of us are being told, and it's like this race against time.
Where were you told that?
I think because I went to like quite a religious school, I think it had a lot to do with that.
This is interesting. At St. Mary's, hey, you went to, and I see you got a scholarship for music, so I think we must get into that because I didn't know that. But I think I've seen a picture with you at a piano or something. Am I getting the instrument totally wrong?
Yeah. No, I was singing with my dad this past holiday. Yeah, him and I were just on stage. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So was that the scholarship was
for singing?
For singing. Oh wow. I've never actually heard of that.
Yeah, they don't give them out that often.
Okay, amazing. And then so you at a all girls school, which I'm at. I also went to all boys school, so I'm gonna not knock it. So it's just like my boys go to co-ed, and there's a definite reason for that. Because the world is co-ed. One of the things, like that's just one of the things. But so you're saying that very religious school kind of formulated like what you expected to. You had an outline, like white picket fence, and
yeah, I think that was also exacerbated by the fact that I had a bit of a complicated family life, and when there's things that you can't control in your personal life, especially when you're young, I think we try and control other things to get some form of safety in our lives. And I was, as I said, I had these boxes, and, once I tick these, I will be safe and I will be happy. And I must do them before I'm 30 because then I'm a spinster and no one will love me. And I also think there was like a really big religious element to it at school. And that's why, a lot of the girls were like quite fixated on getting courted through the church and getting married.
Okay. Yeah. And this weird world we live in that you can still, in a way, have arranged marriages and like
it's basically an arranged marriage. I mean, they wouldn't want to say that, but it is. And I always kind of felt like I had fun at school. I had lots of friends. I still have friends from school, but I think there was always like a big part of me that just didn't feel like I fit in. And it's not like it was obvious to anyone else. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't like I was a loner or I didn't have friends or I didn't tick the boxes of what you should do. But I always just felt like this doesn't feel right. I've never been so bored in my whole entire life at school, I have to tell you.
Okay. And then what was with the curriculum or with the general like data? Because I can relate to that where I got quite frustrated at school where I realized I started doing the math and I was like, it's 5 days on here, 2 days off. And it's like, and then I know I'm going to work at a job time, and that's going to be life, is going to be like that. And I was really only having fun on the weekends. And was it the lack of, so you're an entrepreneur, like, so maybe it was that, like, or was it something else?
I think it was just the quality of the content of what we were learning. It just seemed dumb. I wish I could have a better educated answer for you, but it just didn't. It just seemed dumb. I just thought, like, when am I ever gonna use this? Ever?
Yeah.
I think I was probably reading too many like Richard Branson books and stuff
Okay.
at that stage.
And your background, your parents, what did they do?
So my dad is originally from Wales. That side of the family still lives there. And his family moved to Zambia, actually. There was a mining boom and the UK was in a bit of a rut. So his whole family moved there, I think, when he was 11, 12. And they stayed there for a good amount of time. And then when the family moved back, he stayed in Zambia. And then he moved to South Africa. And he started a company here. And my mom was, do you want to guess? His
PA.
secretary.
I was going to say, she was a teacher. I don't
No.
I was so far off.
I know.
Okay, so my mom was actually my dad's secretary for a short time. He fired her quite swiftly.
Yeah, my parents.
Didn't work.
Yeah. My mom actually wasn't, she wasn't his PA or secretary. It was my dad's partner's PA. And then
Okay.
I think my dad's actual PA was off, and then he was like, Vanessa, come and give me coffee. And she was like, I'm not the friggin' tea lady. And then that's how it started. You know?
Cool.
Yeah.
No, that's okay. That's awesome. And then I saw Vega. So you studied at Vega.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
awesome. I didn't actually know that. I don't know if I hadn't picked that up before. So was that a different educational experience?
100%. So, Vega is very different now. It's very different to what it used to be. But it used to be like really difficult to get into Vega. When you first started, they were quite, I didn't do art at school, and that was one of the requirements to actually get into Vega. To be honest with you, like, I'm a really creative person, but I couldn't draw a stick figure if I tried. Like, I'm not gifted that way. So they were like, well, you don't do art. So I was like, so we can't let you in. And I was like, no, you're going to let me in. Give me something to do. Give me a project. Like, I think one thing about me is that if I get an idea in my head, I will not stop until it's done. I can't. Like, I was like, I've decided that I am going here. You just need to catch up to this decision, Vega. Like, I am coming. I will see you on like the 1st of February or whatever it was. And I did get in. They did give me a project. I went and presented it, and they were like, okay, cool. You're in.
Nice. And then that was a degree in.
So again, everyone's going to go and do BAs here and BAs there and BComs. And while I did get accepted to doing that, again, I was just like, this is so boring. I don't want to do what everybody else is doing. This just seemed, then, like you said, you kind of do the math and you go, okay, well, if everyone's doing the same thing, then we're all competing for the same jobs. And that just doesn't make sense to me at all. So also, like, to be honest, I walked into Vega and I was just like, this is where I want to be. End of story. Like, the vibe was, maybe it's because it was completely opposite to school that maybe that's why I was so attracted to it. But they were also the only place to actually offer a degree in what I wanted to do.
Yeah,
so
creative, like kind of creative degree. Yeah. Okay. And then just on, there's something you said there that you also struggled with drawing, but I'm not going to claim to be creative. The drawing I really struggled with. I remember doing entrance exams and stuff like that in drawing, and I had to like go back to scratch on all of my drawing exams. Do you when you dream, this is a question. It came out, I actually listened to this on a podcast recently. They were talking about it, and it was, when do you have quite visual dreams where they are, like you can see the image that's given, is described as like the sun breaking through the clouds, and you can see the color of the blue of the sky, but you can also see the warm glow of the sun and the rays coming through the clouds. Is that how you dream or see things, or is it more monotone? Like, but you can vision that, but like, how do you see?
My dreams are like reality to me.
Okay, yeah.
But what's interesting is, and it depends what you believe really, but when I was going through my burnout and I was just kaput, I stopped dreaming for quite a long time. And they say that when you're going through a spiritual upgrade or a change, that they stop your dreams so you can recuperate. That's just an interesting take,
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't dream over that time, which is crazy. I have very, very vivid dreams, crazy vivid dreams. Like, did that actually happen? Dreams.
And when it was somehow related to dreams in the end of that, but when you envision something, like the new brand you created, the Aligned Woman. Okay. So do you see that in high definition? Like when that website, that the imagery, the shoot that you've shared, you see that in high def.
Yeah.
So that's interesting because, and that's my excuse, I think too, because I also when I envision stuff, I see it as like the finished. Like if you tell me how to draw something, to draw a horse, I can see a horse in my hand. I can see how those big black eyes.
You can't draw it though.
And the thing that came out of, and it was a Dr. Huberman, I think it was a Dr. Huberman podcast recently, and he says that all the greatest animators, I think, and they're amazing artists, they don't have vision like that. So they actually, they see it as like in monotone, or they see it very differently to how we see stuff. And so when someone at school used to tell them to draw something, like draw a horse, like I would have been, yeah, sure, I know what a horse looks like, I got it in my mind, and I draw this, and it would look how it looked, and it wasn't any good. They wouldn't know how to do it. They wouldn't be able to vision it, and then they would draw it and it would be wrong, and they kept practice, and that close to that 1,000 hours things, they kept doing it until they got really good at that one thing, because they're compensating for not having the same. It's like Fantasia or something like that. It's some element in your visual, yeah. So that's interesting. That again, just to the saying that you, and it's nothing to do with creativity, like creativity, or it's just the way, as I understand it, like people that are really great artists, they might not, they're able to draw in those animations because they had to try harder at one stage to get the vision. Like
that's super interesting. I also think it's something that you can practice as well. So I'm sure if you do enough leadership courses or manifestation courses or things like that, a lot of the time they're going to tell you to envision that end product or whatever your goal is, to see it so clearly. And it's something that I've really been focusing on in terms of my meditation and envisioning what I want for my future, and taking that ability to see things so clearly in my head, and that those dreams that I have, and to actually put that into something a little bit more structured is quite cool.
Yeah, you had Vega, and then it says you got 19 here. So there are a few dips, which is not unusual. People have their own dips. Interesting that people have. We had somebody on recently that all their dips were physiological. They were all physical, like broken bones or like fractured back or whatever it was. It was the first time I'd ever seen it where somebody had mapped there and they had no, like, I was like, what? No one ever hurt you, like.
Yeah.
But yeah, it does get very interesting. Back to also what you said. I got that I used to actually have it in my WhatsApp status at one stage. It's like don't take life too seriously. It's not like you get out alive. And at the same time, it's the most serious thing we'll do. Like we're in it to our neck, and so it's an imbalance. But is there anything we haven't covered before you you left Vega, or after you left Vega, and then you got into getting married and.
Yeah, so my older brother died, and my best friend at the time died. Very, very close together.
Okay, those.
In my first year of Vega, and that really kind of started a long kind of line of people that passed away after that. And I think like I've experienced a lot of death, and those things make you question a lot.
Mm. And how many siblings do you have, or did you have?
Just that one oldest one, and I've got a younger brother. And yeah.
Okay. And then it looks like there's a nice spark again. Move to London.
Yeah. So as I said, I was hell bent on being successful, and my godmother was pivotal in that. She was very much. They always say there's one person in your life that influences you, and she was it for me. Growing up, that is, when you someone that you look up to, and I idolized her. I absolutely idolized her, and she.
I looked up because I was thinking of mine. So I totally agree with you, but I had to figure out who mine was.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I idolized her, and she used to be known as the bitch on the fifth floor, and just yeah, she was badass. She was hectic, but she was wonderful. She had a heart of gold. If she liked you, and just super smart and living her best life, and she really, really inspired me. Like this one time I asked her to help me with my homework, and instead of giving me the answers, she asked me a bunch of questions about the questions. And I was so annoyed. I was like, just give me the answers, damn. She was like, no, I'm going to make you think about it, And she got me a lot of my internships. So I interned a lot, most holidays.
Yeah, so just before we get into internships, why does that did you do that a lot, or that instance where you brought up an instance now, like where you asked for questions and she gave you more questions? Why does that stand out for you?
Because I think that's why she was great. I think that's why she was so successful, because she knows how to get the best out of people. And it's not something like, I mean, I was really young when she was doing this to me. I was like 12, like I wasn't, they were to her probably very simple questions, but she took the time to make it into a teaching moment.
Mm. And so she did this consistently. It wasn't just a once-off.
Yeah, I mean, I remember that vividly, but again, she was someone that had like really strong boundaries and just was like a great example to me.
Mm. Because it's easy to give people the answer, and then that's the quickest route. It's like is one of the, you'll know this lesson, but like you shouldn't do anything for somebody that can do it themselves. Like my 9-year-old can now tie his shoelaces, so I must not ever tie his shoelaces again, because he can do it. Otherwise, he's going to, like my mom can still drive her car. I need to not take that away from her, because I can go fetch her and stuff like that. Yeah. But it's also, sometimes it's frustrating to sit and wait 2 hours for my mom to get to Hillcrest, or my 9-year-old to finish tying his shoelaces when I know I could do it quicker. So you said time, which is interesting, and then learning experience. So yeah, that's incredible to have those type of people in your life.
Yeah, absolutely. So, she passed away when I was, I think, 25. And that was just one of, again, another death that was super significant in my life. And, she had cancer and she didn't tell anyone. She didn't want anyone feeling sorry for her. So I didn't even know she was sick. No one did.
Were you in London at the time? Is this when you were in London?
No, sorry. What did I say? I was 30. No.
Yeah.
No, I think I was 32. I was 32. I was in London twice. So I went to London straight after varsity. That's why I was talking about the internships.
Yes.
Because
So she got your internships and then...
Yeah, so I did a lot of internships during every one of my holidays at varsity. So like I had a really good portfolio to be able to show. So I got a job really easily straight out of varsity.
And then it says, I saw, so Heathrow injection. So that was going...
So do you know what the Heathrow injection is? It's when you get fat.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I had 10,000 Rand in total, which is not a lot of money even then, to try and survive for the month before I started my job. And I thought I'd be super smart and buy an Oyster card, which is your travel card for the month, because it's cheaper to buy it for the month. But then I lost it. So now I don't have the money. I don't have the transport either. And yeah, I was literally living off biscuits in the office. I was sleeping on the couch. I was also sleeping on the couch because they worked me so hard. Worked like a dog.
What did you do?
I was advertising.
Oh, you're in agency side. Okay. For how long?
I was there for a year in London specifically.
In London specifically. Yeah. Okay, and then after that?
And then I moved back to Cape Town, and I got a job in Cape Town. And and then I moved to Joburg with the same company, actually, because I had a Joburg office there. At the time, a lot of my friends were also moving to Joburg because that's where you took your career seriously. And yeah, and then that's where my story kind of started, of where I started my agency as well.
So I remember that, I remember so the agency started in Joburg. What's the name of that agency?
Salt and Candy.
Yes. Is that exists now? Same name, same brand? Okay, amazing.
13
so
years.
how 13 years. Okay, incredible. And so it started what made you start that?
By accident.
Okay. Do tell.
So I was at the time heading up a department for Saatchi & Saatchi, or was it Saatchi Abel? And a friend of mine called me and he said, hey, I've got this American guy that's launching this thing in South Africa. He has been sponsored by Coca-Cola. It's this huge thing. It's called Rock Call. And basically what they do is, it's an international brand. They go all around the world and they get these artists. So you're looking at like Lady Gaga, 50 Cent, like those kind of artists contribute their time. The only way that you can get a ticket to these concerts is if you donate your time. So all these school kids, this is for kids. So these kids would go and help in areas that are the less fortunate and put in hours to get a ticket, which is, it's such a cool concept. Their tagline was give, get given. So giving back your time and you get a ticket in return.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he says, listen, I know nothing about digital marketing. Please, can you join me at this meeting? Just like wingman me, basically. So I was like, yeah, cool. I'll come and wingman you. So I do, and we ended up talking, chatting the whole night. This guy's like, you know what? You're amazing. Why doesn't your agency just do it? So I was like, yeah, sure. I like literally made up an agency on the spot. I was like, yeah, absolutely. I'll see if we have capacity.
So that was where the Vega brand challenge came in quite nicely.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, amazing.
I've had worked on some pretty significant brands until that date. So, but I didn't own an agency. But I made one up on it. I just saw my opportunity and took it.
Okay.
And I ran with it.
And that was 13 years ago. Yeah.
And Coca-Cola Rockall was my first client.
Oh, wow. Yeah. And how long did that last for?
I think that was an 8-month campaign.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's an amazing campaign. Because they don't do anything similar. They need to restart that. Yeah, they need to carry on doing that stuff.
They do around the world.
Okay.
They're huge.
Okay. And then what's been... So, okay, it's Salt and Candy. Why Salt and Candy?
Why the name?
Other than it was just on the fly. Why?
Why the name?
Yes.
So salt and candy are the two things that you never thought that you would be able to put together. But when you do, they're amazing. So I don't know if you've ever been to the movies and you have your popcorn and you put like M&Ms in them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I actually went to the movies. I was on a date and I don't know about you, but one of my favorite things about the movies is the popcorn.
Yeah.
And I just have the salt in my popcorn. That's all I want. I don't want anything else on it. Don't touch my popcorn. And I went on a date with this guy and he just like poured all these M&Ms in it. And I was so pissed off. I was like, bro, you touched my popcorn. Like, this is like not cool. But it was actually amazing. And that's really where the concept came from. Is that if you were to take like different ideas, things that you never thought that would fit, so different ideas that you never thought would fit, put them together and you make something incredible and different and recognizable because nobody else has done it.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, that ties into a principle we have is crazy be strong. I think it's our 6. Yeah, crazy be strong. So embrace disruptive, unconventional ideas to stay adaptable. So I mean, it's a beautiful thing. Did you end up marrying that guy? Sounds brilliant.
Who? Oh,
No,
God, no.
The date didn't last after he ruined your popcorn. And
No,
then...
he ruined my popcorn. No, I married the boy next door, literally.
Okay.
Literally the boy next door. Like, he literally grew up next door.
Okay. And was that part of the tick box? When did that happen?
So I knew him when, obviously, growing up. I don't know if you know, I grew up in Summerveld, which is farm.
Yes, I know Summerveld.
And it's, not a lot
You're
going on there.
People.
I'm a
horsey people.
Horse
like,
girl.
Yeah.
I'm a horse girl.
Yeah.
And he always had a crush on me growing up, but nothing ever really happened. We'd like hang out or whatever. And then my mum was actually at a braai at his parents' house, as you do. And he had come home from being away or whatever he was doing. And my mum phoned me and she was like, yeah, he got hot. Like, someone grew into their looks, like, and he's asking after you. And yeah, so that's literally, he got my number and I was living in Joburg at the time and he literally flew up a few days later and took me on a date.
Okay.
And the rest is history.
Okay, cool. Some of the highlights, you've been mostly talking about death and divorce now. But any of these highlights you want to, obviously launching an agency, coming up with it, that's a massive thing. Is there any highlights that come to mind in the last 13 years of that agency?
Yeah, I mean, I think our first campaign, Coca-Cola is pretty awesome. But I think I think there's 2 other pivotal points in my career, and one of them was that I was really needing some more cash flow in my agency, and you know how difficult it is to get any sort of funding in South Africa, and I really didn't want to be in debt. So I was actually looking at the pound rand kind of ratio at the time, and it was going crazy. And I remember thinking to myself, if I wake up tomorrow morning and it's at a certain number, I can't remember what it was, but it was like a ridiculous number. If I wake up and it's at that number, I'm on the next flight out. I woke up and it was that number and I was on the next flight out. And a week later, I got a job heading up a department at Sapient, which is a huge agency, and the client was Game of Thrones.
Oh, wow.
So I was heading up a digital department of a bunch of internationals for Game of Thrones. So one minute I'm sitting in South Africa, next minute I'm busy talking to the cast of Game of Thrones. I mean, life can change really quickly.
Cheapest, yeah. That's incredible. And when was that? In the early stages of Game of Thrones? So, and then did you stay for long?
Yeah, I was there for a year. I was literally just there I was still running Salt and Candy. I still had a team back home. I was still running clients. So I didn't sleep. I don't think I slept for like the first 10 years.
The first 10 years of your agency?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I found that too. Also when I was younger, I was able to not sleep or like really sleep deprive myself. And I think it ended up, I can attribute a lot of bad decisions to that lack of sleep. And you always think you're invincible in doing it. Is it something you relate to?
I mean, it's why I burnt out in the end.
I've feel like I've experienced burnout, and there's a number of ways. I think it's, multifaceted. There's different types of burnout. The way that I physically experienced a burnout, I thought this is quite like, is analogous to it, but I was actually, my first year training for Hawaii, I was doing water work, and I was doing breath holds. And I was swimming in a slightly longer pool than the average pool, but it wasn't a 25 meter, it was like a 12 and a half. But it actually means that you do stuff a bit faster because you're pushing off, and it was the first time I ever pushed for 50 meters. And I pushed, and it burns. You feel that like horrible, like, I need this, I need a break, I need to take a break. And then suddenly you just don't need a break anymore. And for some reason, I just said, I got to my 50 meters, as I said, and I felt like I could have carried on going. Like, I was just like, I don't need air anymore. It's like, I've pushed past the thing. For some reason, I said, that you wanted to do 50, that's it. Just take a knee here. And I stepped up, and as I stepped up, my vision went like that Looney Tunes circle. Yeah. My vision went dark, and then as I took a breath, it just opened up like that, and the circle opened up, and I almost died in the pool, like shallow water blackout right then. And that's what I think my understanding of burnout is, that when I've had it, is like, you actually feel you're fine and you don't need a break, but you are on a part, you're just destroying yourself, and it's just going to get worse and worse and worse.
I think you get into a cycle, and you just get into a rhythm of just feeling like that all the time, and just becomes normal. I also think it's also definitely a personality type. Like I said, once I get an idea in my head, I'm not stopping. And literally nothing can stop me until my body was like, okay, now we're stopping you. You don't have a choice.
So what do you do now because you know that you haven't changed. You still, I can see you get excited about that, and I believe it to be true. Like you've got an idea, I think, but you still also know about the burnout. You've got those lessons, and the universe gives you what you need to evolve to the next level. Otherwise, you're going to carry on learning that lesson. So what do you implement now, if anything?
Cheapers. So I completely changed my life, honestly. When I say I changed just about everything about my life, I really did. I don't drink anymore. I'll have the odd glass of wine, maybe, on special occasions. But I mean, I would very easily have a glass of wine after work. I was never a big drinker. Um, and I never used to get like blackout drunk or anything like that. I was very sensible, but still having a glass of wine every night when you're running on fumes, still not good for your body. I was also just very hard on myself in terms of like working out. So even if I was exhausted, there I am doing a heated hit class, just not drinking enough water, just things like that, not getting enough sleep, not regulating my nervous system. Like, I think that's probably been one of the biggest things for me, is learning how to regulate my nervous system, because it was just in constant like flat mode, like running away from the tiger kind of thing. And so just making sure that I'm always in my body is always in a place where it's happy, making sure I'm eating the right things. I get blood tests done all the time. I see what allergies. I had a DNA hair test to make sure I don't have anything funny going on in terms of allergies. I work with a nutritionist. I work with a fitness specialist. I do breath work. I do meditation. I do hundreds of different things. I meditate like 3 times a day.
Okay.
I think, the harder it is for someone, the more you probably need it. And it was so difficult for me to calm my brain. To actually like have a moment where I could just clear my mind was almost impossible at one stage.
Mm.
And it's just that constant like hamster wheel on the go all the time. But, as I've said before, I was also on SSRIs for a while. As I said, one of my best friends took her life. My dad had a heart attack. My godmother had died, all in a very short amount of time. And this is after I got divorced. And I just think there's so many things happened, and I was just like, I can't stop. Like if I stop, I have to feel.
Mm.
And obviously I didn't consciously think that at the time, but that's clearly what was happening. And I was doing a lot of like the work. I was doing like, I did mushroom journeys, did all this stuff, but I think a lot of the spiritual work that I was doing was really just spiritual bypassing. It was really just kind of surface level stuff instead of actually really getting into the nitty gritty of feeling the feelings, because there's no way around that. Like the only way is through. I didn't want to go through because going through meant I might not be able to do work as well. I didn't have time to stop. In my head, this is what I'm telling myself.
Okay. And what changed?
So I genuinely thought that I was in a really good space in my life. And the reason why I got put onto SSRIs was because of, experiencing all these deaths. And I was actually having just a really human reaction to it, which was sadness. And the doctor just put me on anti-anxiety medication, which to this day really, really ticks me off, because you don't need to put a plaster on something that needs to be felt, and I think it would have saved me a lot of heartache in the future if I had just been able to deal with it then and there.
Mm. No worries. I think that it's interesting that, and a doctor, not a psychiatrist, huh? Or was it a psychiatrist?
I was a doctor, I was a GP.
Yeah, so it never used to be the case. When I first went on SSRIs, I was on them for about 17 years of my life. That was prescription by a psychiatrist. I didn't think, I don't know when, I was under the impression that they were the only ones that were able to prescribe that at the time. And then subsequently it's changed to now, like you say, a GP can prescribe that. And those are mind-altering drugs. And don't get me wrong, they help a lot of people. I've got this thing, I talked about it often, where when life, Western medicine can be a gift, and it's when life gives you a gift, and you need crutches, for instance, just use the crutches. But I think it sounds like that doctor just gave it to you, and then it's kind of like the easy way, like we were talking about the shoelaces thing, when they could explain that, take these for some time and then move, this is the plan. Then you spend some more time with you.
No one actually ever explained to me, these are the consequences. This is what you could potentially feel. This is what's going to happen when you try to come off of them. This is the protocol, etc. There is no safety discussion around it at all. It was just, oh, you're feeling sad. Do you want to feel better? Cool. Here's a pill.
Next customer.
And I think it's such a problem. It's such a problem in this world where people just want to put a Band-Aid on stuff and not actually work through it. And she did me a huge, huge disservice.
Mm.
But so yeah, I went with my SSRIs thinking I'm good to go. And I'm not going to listen to anyone about how to do it because I'm just going to Google it.
Okay.
So subsequently, I've learned that once you've been on them for a certain amount of time, you really need to be careful with how you come off them. So say you're on 10 milligrams, for example, you would need to start with 9.8 milligrams, then 9.7 milligrams. And you know what I mean? Really take it slowly, because you can send yourself into psychosis. And I nearly sent myself into psychosis because I just thought, hey,
you went cold turkey. Did you go
basically, what I learned eventually the hard way was that SSRIs can mask burnout for a really long time. So I think my body was in burnout for a really long time, but the SSRIs were masking it quite a lot. So when I kind of took that scaffolding off, my body started going, oh my God, we can't function without this. You've taken away the scaffolding. We have nothing to lean on anymore. And, I wasn't supplementing it with anything. I wasn't helping my body at all. And then as a result, I just couldn't concentrate anymore. So I was like, oh my God, must work, can't not concentrate. So I started taking Ritalin. And that was the beginning of the end, quite frankly, because I'm very, very sensitive to medication. And that sent me completely over the edge. I was sitting in I mean, I've had anxiety before, but I've never been depressed. I've never had suicidal thoughts. That's never been me at all. And I was sitting in a Pilates class and I just remember being like, I don't want to be here anymore. Like, I genuinely don't want to be on this earth anymore. And I remember being like, whoa, like, who's that? Like, where does this come from? I honestly was like having this fight in my head with someone that like I didn't know. And I can't say how much empathy I have for people that that struggle with this on a day-to-day basis, because that lasted a day or two for me, and that was hell on earth. And I went off the Ritalin, and a week later I was much better. But again, that really kind of knocked me in terms of my health, and I just kept on getting worse and worse and worse. And I went to doctors, I got blood tests, and she just said to me, I literally have no idea how you are getting out of bed right now. Like, I want to put you in the hospital, and you have just come back from a heated hit class.
Was that just habit? That was just you were just doing the
Yeah.
the checklist. Like, I've got to do this groceries
You're
at
lazy.
6. This.
The reason why you don't feel fit at the moment is because you're not working out hard enough.
You said that you were man down or in bed for 8 months. Is that?
So I wasn't in bed. I mean, I was in bed for a significant amount of that time. But I mean, I wasn't bedridden. But when they say
the doctor would have wanted you to be.
Probably. But I mean, I think when they say no stimulation, that also means no emails, no phone, no TV. Stimulation can mean a lot of things. It's not just like lie in bed and do nothing. So I just made sure that I got into nature a lot. I had to stop working. I read a lot. That slowing down is probably the scariest thing I've ever had to do in my entire life.
Yeah, I imagine, because you've been go since you were 19 or before.
Yeah.
It was cool. And then in terms of, you mentioned doing the work. So what happened? How did you overcome it? How did you get, have you gone back to SSRIs or SRI? Yeah, have you gone back?
So I am on now something. So I wasn't on anything for the entire year.
Okay.
Because I was so stubborn still. I was like, I went off them and I'm not going back on them, And I went to a really great psychiatrist, and he just said, your burnout, like, you're not helping your burnout by not like helping your brain. Like, your body's struggling to function at the moment and you need to help it. So I went on something much lighter. We worked out a protocol of how I'm going to come off it, when I'm going to come off it. What is the strategy? Because I think a lot of the time it's like, okay, well, we're on this now forever. Like, you said, like, next customer kind of thing. And I don't want that. There's no shame in being on something. Please don't get me wrong. But I think if there's a possibility that you don't have to be on it, then why not? But again, I think this was just a really big lesson for me in terms of asking for help. And it's okay to not be okay. And I've never felt, for whatever reason, that it was okay not to be okay. And it was the first time in my life that I actually had no other choice but to ask for help. And it opened up an entire new world to me. I think, I'm definitely a much softer person as a result. I'm definitely have a lot more empathy for people that have gone through this. And it's the reason why I have this company that I have now, because I spend so much time, money, effort trying to get better. And for someone that literally lives on the internet for a living, to not be able to find those resources. And I think I'm pretty clued up. Like, I would like to think that I'm quite well read. I like researching stuff. And still, I could not find the answers. So I just thought, this is crazy. Like, why is it so hard to figure out what is what is wrong with me? So I just thought, there needs to be an easier way, and there wasn't. So I made one.
Yeah, I mean, it will be subjective, I guess, too, because everyone's different, and but the first thing you need to do, I think, is where you said the awareness. That's why I love that start of that acronym ALIVE, is that awareness piece. Once you're aware of it, we have another one, which is 4 A's. It's awareness, acceptance, action, and adherence. So you do the thing, and then you just got to carry on doing the thing. But that awareness is pivotal. Like if you can get that right, then it's like know thyself. It's so important. And one of the things you talked about is with the SSRIs. I was worried about being on them, and any kind of addiction to, like, even alcohol, for instance. I felt like I was definitely myself. I was a Friday night binger or whatever. Like, I'd finish. Agency life was like that. So you'd work hard, play hard. And then Friday, Saturday night, you definitely had a beer in your hand or a whiskey in your hand or whatever it was. I mean, like what's definitely helped me is the psychedelics. You mentioned the mushrooms there too. The psychedelics, and people are like, what, like, they're addictive. Like, what, you got to be worried about the addictive. Like, there's no ways you're getting addicted to ayahuasca. It's like, it's just not going to happen.
Trust me, you don't want to do that a bunch of times.
Yeah. No, it's when you explain what it actually is and what you go through. Like, it's one of those things I was actually thinking about earlier today. It's one of those things that I don't think gets easier with the more you do it.
No, you're an onion. You peeling away the layers of yourself, and you're just getting deeper and deeper and deeper. It doesn't get easier.
Like, I did an ice bath last week, and there's a pic of me grinning in the ice, and it's like 5 degrees. Like, but that's easy now, and then I've actually got to move to make it uncomfortable. But like, if I know I'm going on retreat, I'm like, I get weepy. I'm like serious. Like, it's not good. It's really, really difficult for me. But afterwards it's amazing, obviously, and all that. But that's been the biggest thing, and we staying away, at least doing staying away from the alcohol as much as possible has been a significant change. The interesting thing with the Ritalin for me, I had Ritalin when I was at university, and I absolutely worked for me for exam and studying. But I took it when I was at Vega, at my honors year in Vega, and I remember my group I was in, I think it was the woman's name was Lauren, actually. I don't know why it came to me, but she told me, like, she like sat me down after the day and she said, "Don't take that ever again. Like, you were
why are you like
were
this?
a stump. Yeah, you were a door stump. Like, you were useless today." So just I couldn't output anything. I can only input with Ritalin. It's weird, and I haven't tried it again since I studied.
Interesting.
Yeah, only take stuff in, and I felt like similar actually during the podcast when I get anxious or I'm worried about, like, how it's going, or are we talking about the right thing and that sort of thing. I get blocked, and there's almost like a wall in my brain, and I can't cross the wall for some reason. The thing you made me think of there too is when you had that very dark thoughts, the suicidal thoughts. What I've always worried about that is that pathway has now been opened, and now it's there, so it's more accessible. Once you thought it, like, it's difficult to unthink it. And when I actually had a mushroom journey, and it fixed the pathway, and I couldn't think that anymore.
Wow.
It was like,
maybe it's time for another mushroom journey for me. I told you that I did do a mushroom journey, and my first one was incredible. I genuinely thought I was dead, though. I thought I died. I had a one-on-one with a shaman, Nathan. He's incredible. And he handled it so well. And I remember it actually so clearly. I know a lot of people don't really remember their journeys, but I do. that part of it specifically. And I remember sitting there being like, saying to him, Nathan, I think I'm dead. And he said, okay, what does that mean? And I said, well, it means that nothing matters. In a good way, though, as in I can now tackle anything that I need to tackle because there are no consequences of me doing so. And it was like the most freeing thing on earth. And it really made me realize how much emphasis we put on what others think of us, or myself at the time, how worried I was about not doing things like 100% right because of that answer that I gave. You know, why am I only able to go this deep when nothing matters? You know, that was kind of my integration afterwards of, you know, what does this mean? And I think while mushroom journeys are incredible, the problem with them is that a lot of people think that that journey is the cure. That's not the cure. That is that is the awareness that you need. It's the integration afterwards where the magic starts, but that's where the hard work starts. And people don't want to do hard work. They want a quick fix. I want to be able to have this magical experience with mushrooms, you know, trip my balls off and then yay, I'm fixed. That doesn't work like that. You know, nothing in life is that easy. And yeah, so that integration for me was really, really important, and it changed a lot for me. The second mushroom journey that I did was not good.
Was that SSRI related, or why was it not good? Because that's one of the things that I was worried about when you mentioned the two in conjunction, is they don't go together at all. You're not meant to go near them when you're on SSRI.
So the second one that I did, I think I just wasn't in the right headspace for it, quite frankly. Like, I shouldn't have done it. I think you have to be really, really careful of what headspace you're in when you go into those things, because it can amplify a lot of stuff.
Yeah, the set and setting. So it should be called set, set and setting, which is like the set of medicine you'll be taking, the mindset that you're in. So like I've had the similar experiences. I don't go near any medicine if I'm feeling quite manic and I'm like all over the place. I'm going to do that because that's not going to be a good time. And like I'm going to learn a lot, but like it's exhausting and I'm probably not going to have a good time. And then the actual environment you're in, the setting, like you need to be in a safe place because you're going to see stuff, very differently. And so that is important, the sets and setting, this baseline.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, okay. And then, so, because you reminded me actually of one of our previous guests, Trevor Stein. He said, like, one of his quotes, I don't know, Luke, if you can get this, but he's like, we're on a ball of rock spinning at like 1,000, whatever.
A gigantic rock hurtling through space at like thousands of miles an hour. Yeah.
And nothing really matters. Like nothing you can do is actually that significant. That's yeah. So that's quite like can be, if you look at it positively, it's like quite liberating.
It can be liberating, but it can also like bring like a nihilist view as well. Like, well, what's the point of anything? And I think what it really comes down to is, you know, finding your purpose in life. And I think this experience that I've had has absolutely brought so much purpose to my life and so much peace to my life, because I had to cut away everything that didn't serve me because I literally did not have the energy to be able to entertain anything that was completely essential. And that includes people. And you realize that some people are energy vampires. And when you really having to, for medical reasons, preserve your energy, you got to be really careful of who you're hanging around with. You know, and it became very clear to me that a lot of people that I was friends with were only there for fun, Laura. I mean, I am so grateful for the friends I do have, that I have an incredible support network. I really, really do. And, that's not by accident, though. I mean, I've worked hard at those friendships, and I've worked hard on myself to be able to have those friendships as well. I think, you attract who you are, or you attract a lesson. But it was really eye-opening for me of, who needed to get the snip. And a lot of people got the snip. A lot. Now I can't tell you how much more peaceful my life is.
Sure. Okay, perfect. I think that's a great place to just transition to the ad. So, because it also made me think this, like I told you before, Alon Reyes picks the same ad. So we're going to play it now. I love it. And we'll have it in the show notes for the listeners here, so they can you can watch it if you want. But it's the Alan Gray 2008 Beautiful.
Hola María. ¿Cómo estás?
Bien, gracias.
Dicen que por las noches no más se le iba emborotar. Dicen que no comía, no más se le iba emborotar. Juran que el mismo cielo se estremecía al oír su llanto. Ay, 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 ay.
My papa taught me two important things. Always look for potential.
Hola chicos.
Hola.
Then
Hola, ma.
have the patience to wait for it.
Okay, perfect. So, I mean, that is a beautiful ad named Beautiful. Why did you choose that?
I think a lot of my success has come from the fact that I'm able to see potential where other people can't. It's also the reason why I've had shit boyfriends. No, I'm joking. Never look for potential. No, I'm joking, kind of.
It's fine. There's that thing about like women get married, seeing the potential, like you're saying, to change, and whereas men get married hoping that the woman
They'll
they marry
never
will never change.
And you can keep that in because it's funny. And it'll piss some people off, which will make me happy. So I think you're doing something wrong if you're not pissing someone off. Let's just be honest.
Yeah.
Because if you're trying to people please all the time, and you're trying to, I don't trust people that are friends with everybody. It is impossible. That means that you are not a real person. You are a chameleon, because it is impossible for someone to be liked by everyone. And for you to like everybody, it means you have no backbone. I'm not saying that you have to hate people, but I mean, there are people that you're going to disagree with. So if you don't disagree with anyone, it means that you have no opinion.
It's interesting you said that, because I think that would it be a paradox? The paradox is so not everyone will like you, because there are people like you that don't like people like that. So, but there you go.
Yeah.
But so why did you choose this ad? Why is it significant to you? I get that. I see the salt and candy, like seeing potential.
Yeah, I mean, from a creative point of view, I think that's why I chose it. It's for me, being able to take the human element of anything and emotion, and being able to put that into something so tangible like that advert, is why I love it so much. Besides the, looking for potential. I mean, that's an obvious line. But to get that, to be able to get that kind of like human, to capture that connection is just so beautiful.
And then you said it, like the patience to, so patience or persistence, whatever, you can switch that out. But it's the patience to get it, and you get it done.
Yeah, I think the patience to get it, and yeah, thank you for reminding me of that, because that's actually a really big part of it. We've spoken a lot about people wanting quick fixes and putting band-aids on things and hoping it'll get fixed. But no one has the patience these days to see things through. And I think, especially in advertising, I mean, it's brutal. You've been in it. It's a brutal industry to be in. You can be on the top of the world and you can be 6 feet under in the next day. It's up and down, up and down. And you really got to have patience to be able to see stuff out, especially when you start out with a business, especially entrepreneurship. It's tough. You're not going to see the rewards for a really long time. And I think that's why a lot of businesses fail in the first 3 years. People don't have the patience to be able to wait for the rewards.
It's actually, I went to a talk before Innovation Summit in Cape Town, and I think they identified, or the hypothesis was that entrepreneurs have a different set of genes. They're genetically different, and they have this DR4 gene, which makes you more tolerant to stress and also patient, and then creative. This is a whole bit thing. But it's a very different type of person, actually. But your dad was also an entrepreneur. How did that, seeing him and what he did, how did that affect you in your decision to become an entrepreneur?
Yeah, that's a funny one, because I see my dad as very risk averse. Even though he actually was an entrepreneur, I've actually never thought of it like that. That's so funny. When I started my agency, I didn't tell anybody that I quit my job. I didn't even tell my family for the first 8 months. Because I didn't want anyone to tell me differently. Like, I know you're going to tell me that it's a bad idea. I know you're going to tell me that it's stupid and I shouldn't give up my well-paying job. I don't want to hear it. I don't need to hear the negative. Like, you can't stop me. I will not even hear the negative side of this. Like, we're just going for it, And, it's obviously very well-meaning. Your parents worry about you. They want you to do well, and they want you to be safe, and they want you to do the safe route because for obvious reasons.
Well, he took the risks as well, huh? He came immigrant life. Yeah. Zambia, then South Africa, then entrepreneurship.
Yeah, I probably saw it being really hard and thought, don't do that. I mean, a lot of the time, I've seen a lot of interviews with entrepreneurs, and they're like, what would you tell your younger self? Don't do it.
Yeah, I can relate. If I knew what I knew now, I wouldn't have. Yeah, you probably wouldn't have done it. Even though you're like very happy with where you are right now, it's like that unknown unknowns, or that naivete in some cases. It's like it's crucial to making decisions.
100%. I think the biggest asset I have was my naivety. Like, literally not knowing how awful some days could be was to my advantage,
And that, like, and it can go so wrong. You spent some time in the UK. Do you ever watch the Catherine Tate show? Does that sound familiar?
Yeah, it does. Why does that sound familiar?
Where she says, I can do that. There's a skit that we'll put this in. I'll definitely put this in the show notes, but it's a skit. She's, I can do that. So she literally plays a character where she walks into the corporate and something has happened. The guy's lost his translator, and 11 different languages need to be spoken in the next meeting. And she just says, yeah, I can do that. Yeah, I did a Kentucky tour. And she just says, or she can play tennis. And you can see she's never played tennis in her life before. But it's brilliant. Like, but that's entrepreneurs. Like, yeah, I can do that. And you just jump off the cliff and build the plan on the way down.
Yeah, 100%, John. I think, yeah, we must have a different gene, because it's crazy what we do. And it's I think another quality that entrepreneurs have is resilience. Like, our resilience is through the roof.
Yeah. Yeah, that was part of the genetic bit too. That tolerance to stress, resilience, all that. Like, it's something. We talk about creativity disagreeability. So where would you say, let me try to figure it out while you do, but can you name how you are disagreeable? Like,
Can you explain that a bit more?
So for instance, the agreeable thing might have been working at MNC Saatchi or Saatchi Lab or wherever it was, and getting the opportunity and taking it to them and saying, guys, let's do this. The disagreeable is like, no, I can do this. I'll just do it. Like the disagreeable, disagreeability, the most disagreeable people are predominantly male, and the most disagreeable people are generally in jail. It's true. Like, that's the thing.
Like,
it's
I
because
don't want to do that.
they're like, this, no, I don't do it. You do it my way. Like, this is it. And then, so you give me the money or whatever it is. But entrepreneurs are generally very disagreeable or quite disagreeable. Because they don't want to, otherwise they would work at a big corporate and follow instructions. We don't like that word should as much as the average person, like, and try to be open to that. But like, yeah, don't tell me a should. Like, that's why it sounds like you dodged or you hid it for 8 months, is because you didn't want to be told what you should be doing because you didn't believe that was true, or you didn't want to fit that mold. And interesting, like from everything you told us, and we'll get into the quote now, but before you were very much molded, like it was a checklist exercise, white picket fence stuff.
Oh no, it's a strange one. I think because I was doing kind of living, I wouldn't say two different lives, like I'm schizophrenic or anything, but there was definitely like a push and pull between this is what I should be doing and this is what I actually want to do. And I think when the gap between who you are and when the gap between who you really are and who you're showing up to the outside world as, when that gap becomes too big, that's when you start seeing the cracks. The wider it gets, the more discomfort, the more discomfort, and then you get burnout, like me.
Because that sounds like a lie. It's not authentic.
Well, you're lying to yourself, essentially. It's not an outward lie, like I'm, doing it on purpose.
Not a conscious
it's
lie.
Not a conscious lie, but deep down what's right and what's not right, and if you're living authentically or not. And I think, the signs were there for a really long time that I needed to change. I needed to change something. And I just didn't know what. When you put your life blood into something and it's all you know, and it's going on 13 years of owning this business, very hard to change and to pivot, but I knew I needed to do something different. I think my desire to help others is something that it really fuels me. And I get a lot of joy out of being able to be like, I think this is why advertising also like excites me, because it was like how I've got this problem and then I would be like, this is how I can help you. And then to see that person succeed just gave me so much joy. And obviously after what happened to me and my burnout and everything, I just realized there's this incredibly huge gap in women's education. And if I can just help one woman not have to go through what I went through, my job here is done. Although my tagline is that I want to help 1 million women, but I genuinely will be happy if there is just one, because the money, hour, time, or whatever I would give to be able to not have to go through what I went through. On the flip side, it's why I have this business now. So what was the hardest year of my life has turned into the biggest blessing.
Sure. Pepe Maria, same thing. He actually said
oh, really?
That's where you get all that stuff is like the cracks are where the light gets in and that sort of stuff. Ikigai is the perfect, but that Japanese art where the vases break. Yeah. Have you have you seen what Rachel Khaleesi is doing at all? I'd recommend checking her out. She's doing something. It's not business related. It's not, but it looks like. And first I was like, it's not for me because but I think maybe I need to look into it as well, just to have the knowledge. But it's based on experience, the same thing. It's a trauma, and it's a very personal journey and a relationship more than career, as far as I understand it. So there might be some energy. I think she'd make. Yeah, there'd be actually a great guest, and she's probably Cape Town based now.
Yeah, she is. I must try and see where my connections are, of how I can get in touch with her. I'm sure there'll be somebody.
So I saw something, and I was like, at first I was a bit like, okay, well, this is why am I seeing this? And then I was like, it was literally it sounds similar, but it's because of lots of people will go through heartbreak, for instance, and it's okay. Lots of people have gone through heartbreak, and this is potentially how to deal with it, and how this is how you get. No one gives you the tools. The tool set. It's just everyone does it.
So her thing is literally on heartbreak.
I don't quote me on it. I haven't delved into it again, but that's how I understood it. It was just this beautiful exercise that she was doing, and positioning that was a real give back, and yeah, it just looked really interesting. She's definitely an incredible machine. So, in terms of the quotes, so yours was very interesting. You said you've used this quote before, and I don't know if you're going to be able to read it like that. You don't wear glasses, do you ever?
I do.
This is not for video interviews. Can you see it or?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay. Where did you use this quote before? Why have you used it?
So my story got published in a book with some other entrepreneurs a couple of years ago, and they asked for us to provide a quote of our favorite poem or extract, and this is mine. So this is a book, The Invitation by Oriah Mountain Dreamer, which sounds really woo-woo, but it's actually incredible. I read it every year.
Yeah, you told me this. Yeah, sounds awesome.
It's really special, and the name of the book is The Invitation, and the name of the poem is The Invitation.
Okay.
And yeah, it's really special. It's something that if I'm having a hard day, it's something I would read.
Would you do us the honor of reading that highlighted portion? Yeah.
Sure. So it's a really, really long poem, all right? So I'm just going to read you a section of it.
We'll have a link again to those listening.
To the full one.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So here's my favorite part. It doesn't interest me to know where you live or how much money you have. I want to know if you can get up after the night of grief and despair, weary and bruised the bone, and do what needs to be done to feed the children. So this is my favorite part of the poem, because it means that it doesn't matter where you live, how successful you are, or how much money you have. Those things don't tell me who you really are. What matters is whether, after being completely broken by grief or despair, you can still get up and take care of what depends on you. So whether you can keep showing up for life, for responsibility, for love, even when you are exhausted and hurting. So when it says feeding the children, it's not about literally feeding the children. It's about doing the most basic necessary act of care when there is nothing left inside of you.
It's beautiful. It's actually, it does remind me of my favorite poem, which is If. It's like that line in If by Kipling, where it's you can risk it all in one turn of pitch and toss and lose and never breathe a word of it. And then very similar. So I'd love to actually read this book. I think it looks absolutely beautiful. Who are your incredible machines?
4 people. Two of them are my 2 best friends. So that would be Wendy Mahoney and Lucinda Woodruff. Yeah, I think it takes a really special. We have a really, really special bond, and they are my sisters in this lifetime. And it's the kind of bond that you can't break. And I know they're the kind of friends that I could call at any time of the day or night, and they would be there. You know, the ones that will dig the body for you.
Yeah.
Dig the hole for the body for you. So that's those 2. My godmother who passed away. and my dad.
Amazing.
Mm.
Is there anything that we haven't touched on that you'd like to touch on?
Just about the company.
Yeah, tell us. That was going to be my next question. So the new venture, Aligned Women.
So yeah, it's called the Aligned Women Co. And we are a company that is committed to closing the gap in education for women. So it became blatantly clear to me after I was so sick that there is such a huge gap in education for women in terms of health, but also because I ran a business for 13 years. So I've hired a lot of people. And I noticed how many of these young women had absolutely no clue what they were doing after varsity. With respect and love, I didn't know anything either. It was just, thank God I did a bunch of internships before someone was paying me for something, because I don't know what was going on. And the skills to be able to just do a basic job, no one teaches you how to do that. No one teaches you how to show up, how to behave in meetings, what is the etiquette? How do you public speaking, being able to give a presentation, how to write correctly in an email. I mean, silly things like that. These newcomers who were juniors in the company really had absolutely no clue whatsoever. So I just thought, there's so much that we don't know. And what I've said before is that you don't know what you don't know. So there's so much to learn out there. Yes, all that information is out there on the internet, but how are you supposed to search something that you don't know that you need to search? Where do you start? We keep on saying you should do the work. How do you do the work? What is the work? I have no idea what the work is. And this course that we're starting, it's our flagship course, is going to take these women through a course that is being curated where you are able to actually get the information that you need in terms of how your body works, how your nervous system works, how to process shame, how to show up in a meeting, how to run a business, you don't even have to have run a business. You can also be an employee as well, but how to live with purpose. Now, all of these things that need to fit into your life, but you are not going to be taught this in university. You are not going to be taught this in school. This is not something that you're just going to randomly find on the internet. Not in one course. No one has ever done a course like this, ever. And what is so important about this is that every module that is taught by an expert in that field. So the issue that I have is that the coaching industry really is unregulated. And these people that are not qualified to give advice are giving advice to people. And just because you're good at digital marketing and social media, the bigger the following is, the more, people seem to trust you. And it's a really dangerous place to be. You got these people that are taking $12 Udemy courses and calling themselves experts. It's crazy. So the special part about this is that everybody is vetted. The people that are experts have PhDs, they're doctors, they are incredible people that have a history and have been in their industry for a really long time and can actually teach you something really important. If you were to try and see these people individually, all of them individually, that will cost you close to 100,000 Rand. You will not be able to get the insights that you're able to get at this course anywhere else.
That's what we were talking about earlier, the aggregation. So aggregation of that via your experience, curation, because they, like you said, they've given them credentials, their PhDs and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And then the collation, so giving it order, because communication needs structure.
Yeah.
And then dissemination. So where can we find out more?
So you can go to alignedwomanco.com and have a look. The course will go on sale in the next month, but you can sign up to a wait list.
Perfect. And what's next after the course goes live?
I am in the process of developing a very special app. I can't say too much about it at the moment, but it ties in a lot of the things that the course teaches, which is going to be really, really exciting. Again, something that no one has done before. And I can't wait to tell you all about it because it's going to be incredible.
Awesome. That's incredible. Anything you want to close with?
Don't be boring.
Thank you so much. Incredible, Laura Thomas.